Hello. How's it going? Decade in. This is Eli. I'm here and ready. Well, excellent. Yeah, oh yeah, of course. Wood-Eye Goon's a buddy of yours, right? Right, Craig? From your New York days? Is that what it's from? I can't recall. Good luck today. Yeah, it's not about luck. This is not a performance. It's not a competition. There's no luck to wish. It's just some friends chatting. That's all it is. You silly folks. All right. Well, today we have the illustrious Matthew Marteinsson joining us on the stream. Pretty stoked about this. Oh, but before we do that, this is of course Fastfall. As I was saying before we went live, Fastfall, the Dust Force original soundtrack by Lifeform. That's Terrence Lee out of Portland, Oregon. And he's also doing, of course, freaking this with us. TuneInGame.com. Oh yeah, coming soon. Coming so soon. Soonish. Soonish. But his stuff is awesome. Probably talking tonight about music things. Should be good. Like, just look at this. Listen to this music and look at this background. Perfect fit. Match made in heaven. Holy. All right, let's do this too. We're all set and good to go. So yeah, Matthew Marteinsson, of course, Matt-esque in the chat, as I'm sure you are well aware, the folks here. Matthew Marteinsson used to be kind of an every week co-host of Real Talk, hanging out in the chat, holding it down in the chat, as we say, dropping truth and knowledge bombs at every turn. Usually, where's your ambience is a common one. So I hope Eli and Doug, I hope you brought your ambience today, because otherwise we're going to hear about it. And if you're unaware, Matt-esque is audio department over at Clay Entertainment here in Vancouver. I don't know if he has an actual title. Like, I don't think he would claim to be like audio lead or audio director or anything like that. He's maybe audio guru is a good one. So I will perhaps let him say more. But yeah, he's been all over the audio scene. I would be shocked if everyone here has not heard of Matthew Marteinsson. He's been doing audio for like 15 years or something like that. Some NHL game a long time ago with a with a distant past number attached to it. He's done Mark of the Ninja. He did Don't Starve. He did Invisible Ink. He's working on Griftlands. Hot Lava as well. I believe did some work on that one. Yeah, just lots of, the Clay stuff, of course, as you all will know very well. He's also, let's see how I can do this. Matt, he organizes when GDC happens, organizes Carousel Con that happens alongside GDC. Outside, it's all audio talks. Happens over the whole week. Also, co-organizer on Audio Bash a while back, and there's just too much. There's too many things to list. He's really, really involved in the audio community, and I thank him again for making the time for our little stream. So let me get him on the call here. Sorry, Terrence. Pause you, and Colin. Let's go.
Hello.
Hello, Matt. How are you?
Not too bad. How are you?
I'm okay.
Oh, I gotta mute some stuff.
You hear me twice? Are you hearing yourself twice?
Yeah.
Classic Twitch problems.
Yeah.
Josh Adam Bell says that you made him feel very welcome at Game Sound Con 2018 and that you are awesome.
Sweet. I'm glad. I'm glad that people think I make them feel welcome, because a lot of times online I not necessarily don't.
Yeah, I think I know plenty of people with that affliction. That perhaps
my judicious use of periods.
So your hard punctuation. Yes. Yes. So I did plenty of intro for you.
Yeah.
I'm sure I missed something. I mean, of course you keep the game audio Slack on the rails. Also, thank you for that.
Yeah. Yeah. There's stuff I do things.
You do a whole lot of things, man. Definitely. Yeah. So it's been a while since Matt has been on the stream on Skype. I think it's maybe 2 years ago or something.
Many long time,
or at least a year, I'm sure. Yeah. So now that we're getting back into kind of guest host territory, it's good to have you. So before we get started, I'm sure we did this before at some point, but for the benefit of the stream, of course, this is all about people getting traction in their respective careers and finding their own starts. It's always kind of interesting to hear how people who are doing it and who are, of course, very active and involved in the industry now and have a well-established career. Of course, they got their start at some point too, right? So it's good to know how that happened. Mind you, perhaps given some time has passed since you got your start. So
that's for sure.
So it might not be a perfect template as far as how to do it these days, but I'm sure there's some notes to take there.
Yeah, there's the thing. Like how I got in just doesn't. You can't even do that anymore. The me that it got in wouldn't get in today. Pure and simple.
I think I feel the same way, actually. Yeah.
I showed up at a job interview with a CD of music I had recorded. Like, that kid's not even getting in the door today.
Had you done anything interactive or anything beyond just music?
No.
Really?
And I mean, back then nobody had.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we were all ex-music, ex-film people. Like, that was it. That was the only way. There was no... When I went to school, all you could do was for recording. Maybe there was a couple places doing a bit of post teaching, but you didn't... Yeah, there wasn't game audio school to go to.
Right, because you were at Blue Wave previously, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Blue Wave is a studio that's now, rest in peace, Blue Wave, unfortunately.
Yeah. It was one of the best sounding rooms in the city.
Yeah, I saw there was like a play-by-play photo series of the teardown. It's like, oh god, this is so depressing.
I missed it. I'm kind of glad I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's brutal. Sad. One of my old teachers from audio engineering class, Chris Seegers, he posted it on Facebook and was like, "Oh Lord, give me strength." It's like having a hard time with it, but. Although also extremely interesting to kind of see like the cross section of the walls and everything, it's pretty incredible.
Oh yeah, I bet. Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So you were like what, assistant engineering there, or what was your role at Blue Wave?
Yeah. I was an assistant engineer. I did. I was got to do some engineering stuff as well, but I was the on staff assistant for a couple of years there.
Yeah.
And then. Making a living as a recording engineer is tough because bands have no money and you're basing your whole existence on a group of people who have no money.
Yes.
So I went and did testing for a summer that I was just supposed to be like, hey, this is just a summer job. Like, I'll just, have a stable paycheck for a couple months and then go back to what I was doing. And while I was a tester, I met up with somebody I had gone to school with. For recording engineering, who was doing audio on FIFA.
Mm-hmm. And this is, of course, at EA, right?
Yeah, this was at EA. And he put me in touch with a team that when my QA contract was expiring, they were needing an audio person. So it just kind of dovetailed real nicely, like my availability, and I was in the building. And that's back when QA at EA worked for EA and not a separate company. So I was able to interact with the teams and stuff. So
just walk down the hall, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's it's the classic story of starting QA and work your way up, and somehow it actually worked. It's like not the default these days. That's very cool.
But then too, I had 3-4 years experience of doing audio, not games, but I had several years of audio experience already.
Right, so it's kind of the classic, yes, perhaps it was lucky that you were in the right place at the right time, but totally. It's the classic the idea of luck just being opportunity meeting preparedness. So you had the background of working in audio. You were in the right building due to like that hard work, getting in the right environment for games and such. And then suddenly, of course, opportunity arrives, and you're there to there to show up for it. So very cool.
Yeah. So then that was NHL 2004. That was the first game I did audio on.
I almost said NHL 94.
Not quite that old, but close.
I was thinking of Jeff Van Dyke, whose first game was like NBA Jam. It was like 96 or 98 or something like that. It's like, geez. Yeah, not quite that old. All right. I know Matt knows the score very well as far as how this stream works, but just in case anyone new is joining us, and for Grey Goon Audio and for Eli VanZandt, who are both in the chat right now, this is Real Talk. We're having a look at some game audio materials, some portfolio content, some website stuff, and just trying to give some helpful, constructive feedback that might assist you both in getting a little more traction in your careers, getting those gigs you're looking for, or at least a higher chance of getting those gigs you're looking for. Again, the idea of like getting lucky, but having the reel to back it up when a good opportunity presents itself. So we're going to be looking at a few things here. Presentation, that is the website on the whole. For Eli, it's just the Vimeo link, so we just have that one. But of course, for Doug here, for Grey Goon Game Audio, we'll be looking at the site on the whole and looking at just sort of general flow stuff, aesthetics, and if there's too much information, not enough information, that kind of thing. And of course, at the reel itself, which seems to be right up in our face right here, front and center, awesome. And just things like flow in the reel and titling and bookends and everything like that for presentation. For material selection, we're looking at what is in the reel in terms of the pieces that they've selected, both in the reel and in the portfolio content, and what that might suggest about your future ambitions and your past work history and your current skill sets. And of course, keeping in mind that we're going in blind. I don't know if you looked at this stuff prior, Matt, but I certainly did not.
Nope.
Okay, Matt did not either. There you go.
I opened the web pages. That was it.
Yeah, so what you're seeing right now is all I've seen also. I just opened the pages and they're just in front of me. So the idea of the stream is we go in blind to kind of best emulate what a potential employer's experience might be with your content, as far as like what they feel tempted to like click on first and that kind of thing. All right, and as well, content quality. Is your stuff good or not? Is it that industry standard of awesome? Because of course you're competing against everyone else in the industry who is looking for those same jobs. And for distinction, are you standing out? Because again, there's a lot of people out there looking for those same jobs. So hopefully you're standing out in some positive way. Okay, Matt, good to go?
Good to go.
So I saw, let's see in the chat, I saw Would I Goon in the chat first. So we'll do, I'm kind of inclined to do the video first, actually. You know what? Because it's just the video. We'll have time to kind of spend on Doug's after that in that case. So it'll, of course, take less time. So how about that? Let's do Eli VanZandt first. So just real quick before we look, there is some information below. There's current demo reel, highlights from select projects, Pancakes, Ad, Toy Mail Co., Into the Space, NYU, Industrial Dragon, a sound effect, and etc. There is no contact info, unfortunately, which would be probably good to have there also. It is right in our face, of course, but being able to select Control-C is a nice additional benefit of that, Eli. Okay, and also 2.5 minutes long, so we'll see how far we get. For the sake of the stream, we will definitely watch the whole thing through. I have a sneaking suspicion that Matt will perhaps feel the temptation to skip ahead at some point, and I feel I may have the same temptation. We generally try, I mean, again, it's only our opinions. We're not like the word of God here, but in general, we found a minute's pretty good length for a sound design reel, so we'll see how far we can into this one. Are you good to go here, Matt?
Yep.
Let me make sure I'm cranked up on Chrome. I am. And okay, let's do it in 3, 2, 1, and...
Recording. Aunt Barbara, Father makes gross pancakes.
I need you to elaborate on how pancakes can be gross.
The color is good? Oh, maybe lower the heat.
Longer time, lower heat. Flip it!
minuto e um tech.
Whoa. Hey. Okay, and I didn't set my. Oh no, there's no. This won't do anything. No claps. All right, I missed one for the first time in a long time. Oh geez, Matt, I don't have any claps to play, man. I can't believe it. I can't. Oh man, foolish. I don't want to open it because you know what? I still will. I still will. In the meantime, while I'm doing that, any first impressions there? Matt.
I was started skipping at around before a minute.
Yeah, about 45 seconds. I checked the time, and I was like, oh my god, please. And I was like, okay, we'll keep watching. Yeah, there's a few pretty like jarring flow things here and there, but I mean, the content wasn't awful on the whole, and we can certainly dig in more on that. But in general, yeah, flow-wise, I think is the biggest thing to address here. This presentation stuff. So let's see, does it work? Yay! Okay. Oh my god, our finely tuned engine, Power Up Audio. Okay, let's go back one. We're not looking at Caroline's stuff. Here we go. All right, so let's just blaze through some presentation stuff first. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so go for it. Any notes?
I mean, it's good that there's a sound right off the top. That's always a good thing. But it's a dated looking splash page.
Yes, true. Let's have a look again.
That is a purely like taste oriented opinion.
Yeah, it definitely. I mean, the design stuff is tricky because like we're all audio people.
Yeah,
and we don't necessarily have like the capabilities to do things like cool logo intros and stuff. But I know some people have like hired their friends to do them for them. So
for the longest time, when I put out music stuff, I just put out a picture as the album cover with no text of any kind because it's like I can't design anything, so I just won't.
Sure, well, there you go.
Which worked for that, but you know, not so much for if I had to do a demo video. I'd be in trouble.
It's from Halo. What is this? Oh, it's from one. Is that one of the albums from Halo 3? Oh, it's an emblem from Halo 3 also. Okay, I didn't even realize that.
It is? That's weird.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's like the move. I think that I'm trying to picture like if it was something I recognize, like if it was like I don't know, something like the Serif Industries logo from Deus Ex. Mm-hmm. You'd be like, is that because you like Deus Ex? It's kind of a strange thing to put on your content specifically. Like this is a trailer for you, and I like Halo is not necessarily the kind of thing that like belongs in this particular place. Maybe if you have like a bio or something, like here's my favorite games, my big influences, then cool, put Halo in there. But yeah, on your demo reels, perhaps not the right place for that. Also, quick note, I definitely jumped when this played. It was full volume here, full volume again. And it's pretty like head by a bell. And just be aware of that yes, it's good to have sound off the top, like Matt says, but try and find a balance there of maybe not making someone jump as the very first thing they experience of your sound. Okay, and then moving on.
Titles.
Oh, actually, 1 second. So we have vimeo.com/etvanzandt. Is there anything else here to look at beyond just that, like on that link? Oh, there is. There's more things. I didn't realize that. So there are fuller, like longer form videos here, actually. Well, we'll see if they're longer form or not, I suppose. But good to know. We'll come back to that. Okay. And titles?
Titles. They go away.
They go away. Yeah, it can't hurt to leave these things up, Eli. Because the thing is, it comes up, I'm looking up here at this thing, title's here, I'm not looking yet, and then suddenly it's gone, and I look down, and I don't know what this is anymore. So it can't hurt to leave that up as well. If I'm skipping back through your video, you want to be able to see right away, as we can't in this case, like, what is this thing? Who knows? But if the title's just there the entire time, then we know. Easy. And don't worry about covering up content behind it. You have like an opacity kind of set here, so it's a bit translucent, and that's fine. No one's going to complain about not being able to see the stuff behind the title quite so well. Another small note, just move it up a bit. Otherwise, you have the danger of your titling like interfering with UI stuff in video players and so forth. Okay, and flow-wise, so I guess length first.
Also,
Matt.
on the titles,
Sure.
this is a potentially personal thing. I don't care what tools you use, like putting you did it in Pro Tools or Logic or anything. Like personally, that's not information I ever care about. When we hire people, you use what tools you want to use. Like half the teams on Pro Tools, half the teams on Reaper. If you came in and wanted to use Logic, we'd be like, cool, we'll get you Logic. Like that's, it's just sort of like, to me, unnecessary. Yeah,
it's not super relevant to whether your stuff is like worthy of attention. Okay, and unless Reaper says Nick Volcano. If it's Reaper, put in Reaper. Otherwise, no one will know. Okay.
No, they'll know because you won't shut up about it.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so flow-wise, how about length stuff? We already mentioned that we lost interest around like 45-ish. So
yeah, and this first piece, which is not a game piece, takes up like almost 20 seconds, 15 seconds, 16 seconds of it.
Yeah.
Like that kind of burned a lot of my attention.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. I kind of thought, because here's the thing, Eli, is that if this is this says sound design for visual media, sure, I would encourage you to consider who your desired audience is for this video. Like, are you looking to get hired at a post-production house? Are you looking to get hired at a game audio, like third-party studio like ours, or like a AAA company, or like a III company, like, I mean, quote unquote, tongue-in-cheek, III, like Clay Entertainment, for example. If that's your goal, like in games, then this opening clip is maybe out of place, and it might be better served to be like in your portfolio. It's like, here's the thing I did. It's not like, I know it's not why you're here, but it is something I did, so here it is. And it just shows like, yes, I've worked on paid work, and I can ship a project. Like that's not worthless information. That is valuable, but as a first thing we see as someone in game audio, it's not the most relevant thing. And like Matt says, it kind of causes us to like have question marks over our head and just lose interest right away.
Whatever I see first always colors my expectations of what does this person want to do.
Yeah, and in the chat right now, Decade, and that's Eli, says, I'm looking at game audio personally. Well, there you go. So perhaps this isn't the strongest opening. And quick addendum to what Matt was saying regarding tools. Like if you use Pro Tools or Logic or whatever. The one thing that is worthwhile is putting things like Unity. So if you put it in with a tool like Unity or Unreal or Fmod or Wise or whatever, then totally tell us that. But because that's more relevant to kind of like broader game audio concepts, this specific DAW you use is like not super relevant. Okay, so moving on, we have this sound effect contest thing. Sure, we have Angry Bots stuff. We have Bloodborne redesign. We had a lot of Viking Village with Unity.
So this wraps around a little bit to the title not being up thing. When I was watching it, I realized that a sound effects contest clip. I realized I had seen it other places, but because the titles had gone away, I couldn't remember where. I just knew that, like, oh, I've seen this before.
Sure, there you go.
And I thought it had been a school project.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Yes, again, keep your titles up. Just it really can't hurt, and it can hurt if you don't. Okay, so then Viking Village, and then Lightsaber Star Wars. Okay, and then this World of Warcraft, or is it Warcraft 3? Yeah, Reforged. And then
I was a little confused with the World of Warcraft one with that picture-in-picture bit.
So was I.
Like, what is that there for?
Yeah, I don't really understand still what it is actually. So perhaps Eli, you can illuminate for us as to what this picture-in-picture is in the corner. It seems like this is footage taken from somewhere. Of course, it's not your video you made. But yeah, I just don't know what this thing is in the corner. And whenever you have things that make people's eyebrows raise, just the one eyebrow really, then what that means is that their attention is not on your awesome sound design work, right? So if this is a thing in the corner and people are like, what is that thing? Then they're not looking up here at your cool work. So Eli says it's from a YouTube video of the clip. Okay, well, perhaps there's just another clip you could choose that's a little more focused as far as where the viewer should be looking, and I guess more importantly, listening. Okay, so the full cinematic was not out when you made this, so perhaps it's time for an update then. Okay, and in the end, there is in fact an ending bookend,
Good.
and it sounds like what? It sounds like nothing. Okay, well, perhaps worth putting some sound there too. And the other thing is that I know I had my Skype mic muted, Matt, but when Star Wars started, I went, whoa! So that's kind of a presentation thing also. Again, just like flow-wise, Eli, really consider how your pieces flow together, not just in terms of what's your best foot forward, but also in terms of like just how do they fit together, and like, can you move from one clip into the next in a way that seems intentional and isn't just like you have your junk drawer full of things you've done and you pull them out without looking and put them in a list or in a sequence and be like, and reel, complete. That certainly is an approach to a reel, but we've seen reels that like Aaron Bowers comes to mind right now. That's abowersaudio.com, I believe. And Aaron's reel was like fine. I mean, he knows my opinion of his work, and it was okay. It was all right. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It was good. But the thing is, his reels editing was like sick. It was so good. And that's down to that distinction note we were talking about right down here. Even though I don't think that, like, if we were hiring, I don't think we would hire Aaron in that exact moment. But that kind of attention to detail just goes a long way. Like, I know that Aaron's thinking about a lot more than just his sound, you know? So this is that's a big consideration, especially in terms of like audio differences. Like, listen to this transition here. I'm gonna play it right now, full volume. Oh, jeez, that's rough. It's very rough. It's like from this pleasant Viking Village tune into like right away. So, I guess that brings us to material selection then.
And also, I mean, kind of bridging the transition there. I'm never a fan of clips that solely focus on one thing. Like the lightsaber section has just lightsaber sounds, and there's like, and that's partially because of when we're looking to hire somebody at Clay, we do everything. We're not a big enough studio to have somebody who like just does combat sounds and somebody else who does ambiances or something like. It's like you take on and do everything for a game. So we're looking for people who can do everything. So I want to see that in a reel. So a clip like that is like, okay, cool. You can do the lightsaber sounds. That's great. But what about all the ambient stuff? What about all the cloth movement stuff? What about like everything else that should be in that scene? I don't know if you can do that. And
that really comes down as well to knowing where you're applying, because yes, massive studios. I know like Josh had in his reel for a while, Josh in the chat right now had in Israel, like, I did these ambiances, period, in this section for Star Citizen. And in that case, like, that was his job for that while. I don't know how long that was, but that's a large company. It's not Clay, so it depends where you want to be working at. And I guess that comes to my next question for Matt is what kind of job do you think Eli is going for with this reel?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Honestly.
Also,
yeah. There's a pretty broad range of stuff in there, and I can't tell. Yeah.
Yes. So Eli, consider your audience in terms of who's watching this thing, and consider that they might have no idea who you are, or may have had like a brief conversation, gotten a contact card from you, something like that, and your reel ideally will communicate a lot more information than simply like, this stuff sounds cool, right? It should hopefully also communicate what kind of work you're looking for. And if you have a reel that has like post-production and the Star Wars animation and this like Angry Bots Unity demo thing and a Bloodborne redesign and the sound effect contest thing. I'm forgetting. There's so many of them. I can't forget what all they are. But it's just not super clear as far as like what you want to be doing. So if you did apply to Blizzard, for example, they'd see this piece at the end and Bloodborne and be like, okay, so maybe Eli is looking to get into AAA, but everything else would not serve your goal of getting AAA. Like everything else wouldn't. It's some is like arguably okay. Here's my like. My student project from this thing, or here's my game jam thing. Those are certainly helpful, but it's as of right now there just isn't focus. So, Oscar Cohen, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. Just do material that matches what you want to do. There you go, says Oscar. Oscar is working right now, by the way. Oscar has been working for a while, so listen to Oscar.
And if like that Blizzard AAA stuff is what you wanted to do. At this point, somebody has to wait 2 minutes to get to that.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
It's a lot to ask sometimes to think that somebody's going to wait that long before they get to kind of the stuff that they're interested in.
Yeah, it's a big
and
ask.
I know, having talked to audio directors at larger companies, there's a big disconnect too between like, I like to see a variety of things in a reel, short but several things. I know some audio directors want to see a larger one clip. They would want to see like this Bloodborne piece, just like a minute and a half of that.
Totally. Mm-hmm. And to that end, actually, if let's say you had this reel dialed into a minute and get rid of the extraneous stuff that's not super relevant or as relevant, and let's say that person that Matt just mentioned saw like the Bloodborne piece of 10 seconds long, was like, oh sweet, Bloodborne, is there more of that? And they go to your main page, is there a longer form Bloodborne? Let's see. Oh, it's 10 seconds long. No, it's the same clip. So, I think it's the same clip at least. It likely is. Yeah, it for sure is. So in this case, your additional content, I had to close the window, my bad. The additional content in this case doesn't add anything. It's just the same thing again. So it doesn't really, there's no benefit to being here. And in fact, to be blunt and maybe a little bit mean, it's actually wasting our time because we've already seen that if we've seen the reel. Okay, so let's get back to the main reel. And okay, so material selection, I guess just to kind of sum things up, this opening clip is not super relevant to your aspirations of getting into game audio. This next intro thing is a game redesign. I didn't even realize that. Game redesign? What's that mean? Into the Space, NYU. That's, of course, I guess you went there for school. Sound design, game redesign. Can you please explain to us what game redesign means? I've never seen those two words together in a reel before. And then CFXR. I was like, Fixer? It's like that free online make old retro sound effects thing. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. Right. So sound effect contest. How do you feel about putting contest stuff in the reel, Matt?
I feel less about contest stuff than I do job application stuff. But it definitely means I've seen it a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm always more of a fan of things I haven't seen versus, my first thought when I saw this was I've seen this before.
Mm-hmm.
and I start to check out of listening to the cool sounds when I'm like, yeah, this again.
Yeah, that's really the biggest thing I think is when you have content that often shows up in Reels or often just shows up on Twitter or whatever, then yeah, unless you won, like if you won the contest, if it's like contest winner, I'd be like, sweet, let's hear it, right? But until then, it's maybe like, okay, cool, you did it, and it's awesome, you're proud of it, and you want to show it to the world. That's very cool. Just be aware that it comes along with certain kind of like reservations on the part of the viewer. Okay, and then next thing, so Angry Bots NYU. Again, this is very commonly seen. We did a talk, Matt and I, at GDC a couple years back, and mentioned how student projects are, sure, they're good to show that you learned things and so forth, but they're not as powerful as things you've done on your own time because you wanted to, as opposed to things that were in the curriculum and you were kind of forced to do them since you were at school. So, yeah, this is certainly fine, but again, we've seen Angry Bots so often, like super, super often. So it's not just communicating your skill alone, it's also making us kind of, even inadvertently or like subconsciously, just compare it against everything else we've heard for Angry Bots. Okay, and Decade in the chat says, for Into the Space, I made changes to the original game on top of just adding sound effects. Okay. I mean, I'm not sure how to respond to that. I don't know that the game redesign is super relevant to why I'm looking at it, though, I guess. So it just comes down to, like, is this information relevant to what I want to know? And if you weren't here to explain that to me, I wouldn't know what that means, and therefore it would just cause more distraction. So I'm not sure, like, how to address that. Like, maybe like mod, like after Into the Space, parentheses, mod, NYU, and then sound design. I mean,
all the stuff that you seem to have done into the Space, like actually working in Unity, using with C# and all that kind of stuff. Like I would want to see that as a separate clip with a bigger write-up below it, kind of like, here's actually what I did. Like it's a clip that to me needs a bigger explanation, and I do find that interesting. It's just hard to cram it into the titles on this screen.
Yeah, the gist overall here, it's kind of a overarching point that we keep coming back to, but the idea of this being a teaser trailer, and you get the hooks in and want the person watching it to want to see more, to want to hear more and learn more about you. And that's a great example. So you see this thing, go like, oh, a mod, like this is a cool thing, I like the sound of that. And then you have like an answer to that desire on the part of that person. So they say, I want to see more. And you say, well, it's right here on the portfolio page. And you go there and you've got the longer write-up on the thing that they saw, like a bite-size, tiny part of. Okay, so Viking Village, same thing, cool. You're doing it. Again, pure data also, neat. I mean, again, we've seen a lot of that for like school reasons and for just in general, it's one of the available demos. It is cool to have it because it shows you're learning stuff. Just again, it doesn't, unless you're like just doing incredible sound design work in this thing, there's only so much you can do with Viking Village, as far as sound design goes. It's just an ambient piece for the most part. Okay, designing lightsabers. Matt, do you have any thoughts there?
Just what I said before. It's like, I guess it's hard for me to judge this content all on its own. Like, I feel like I have some issues with it all on its own, and I might not have those issues when it's in a mix.
Okay, cool. And then the Warcraft thing, we already went over that, and so it's kind of unclear, but great. Okay, let's move on to content. I think we can safely skip pancakes and toy mail and go into the space. So let's do that. Any notes, Matt, on Into the Space?
It sounded very appropriate to me. It's an 8-bit game.
Yeah, no complaints.
But there is music in it.
Oh, there's music though. True. Yes, so if you did the music also, it says you did, where's the title? There it is, sound design. So did you do the music also? If not, it might not belong in your reel. And even if you did, this is a sound design reel, it says at the front. So perhaps it's worth leaving out of your reel, just to show your sound design work. Okay, and the sound effect contest. Do you want to weigh in there?
Yeah, I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
It was a nice roar.
Yeah, cool roar. All right. Moving on. All right, and then Angry Bots. Okay, so in general, I can't speak for Matt, but I know personally, I definitely judge implemented content, especially school content. I don't judge it nearly as harshly as I do when it's like a linear piece that you have full freedom to just put the sound on the timeline and make it sound cool. For this, there's a lot more moving parts, of course, and it's a little more advanced as far as the craft to make it sound like you want it to sound when it plays back in real time. So that said, I definitely have some notes in this section. Let's hear it one more time, just to like this 10-ish seconds.
Welcome to UTech.
Okay, so in general, I would say that the size of sounds you've designed don't always match what is happening, and by size I mean like significance, intensity, that kind of thing. So, for example, this first door, where you kind of barely hear, but it's like a big chunky bank vault thing. So there it goes. It's like a two-parter, right? I love that. I love design. Doors are my favorite thing to design, by the way, Matt. Doors, man. I'm telling you. It's so fun. Like, I wish I was around to design like the doors in like that game Descent or Descent 2. There's just so many awesome like multi-stage doors in that game, you know? And this is just it's a gift to a sound designer. You've got part one, the middle part kind of like swirls around, whoop, and then the rest of it rolls down. It's a two-parter. And then closing again, a two-parter.
Welcome to you.
So you have this chance to like just tell the story, right? You got part one, part two, and then like part two in reverse, part one in reverse. And in this case, we hear like barely part one. It's like kind of. It's like,
I actually thought that was just plain missing the first time.
There we go.
went
Yeah,
through
it's quiet enough that it's easy to miss. So there you go. This door opening represents probably the most important thing to the player in this moment in time, and therefore should be the most important thing in the mix at that point in time. And unfortunately, Matt just missed it entirely because it was so quiet. So be aware of that. Get a lot of like big chunky door stuff in there.
Welcome
Yeah.
to UTech.
All right. And then as far as the same note on like the size of things, the bot coming to life is a good size for a sound because it represents like, hey player, look over here, there's danger. That's good. However, the beep is like really loud, and then the explosion is tiny.
Yeah, I was unsure of watching this clip how much was air quotes bad mixing versus fighting the implementation of the engine you're working with.
Right.
Because I know in that project there's only so much you can do on that level. So, you know.
Yeah. So it's just it's a challenging thing because you're forced to like, as a listener, that person might not know this project intimately or anything, and all they have is just like what it sounds like to go on. So it's a bit of a trick, but from just listening blind, I guess, I'd say there's some attention that could be given as far as like the size of things and trying to map that to what's important to the player at a given point in time. This is an older project, so there are more quote-unquote amateur mistakes. Well, that is now on you to decide, have I grown so far beyond this that it is no longer serving me? Because I'll tell you, I was going through some archival stuff like yesterday, and I heard like this clip from Lost that we had to do like a redesign style post-production job on in school, and oh man, it sucks. it's like very bad. So of course that wouldn't be my current reel, right? So I've outgrown that. So it's
that's the thing to remember, that whoever is watching this reel can only take it at face value that this is how good you are at this exact moment in time that they're watching it. You can't expect them to second guess like, oh, well, I guess he might have done this 2 years ago and has grown since then. You kind of have to think this is it. This is how good this person is. So if there is some older content and you've gotten better than it's showing, it's time to re-edit and get that out of your reel, or revisit and make it up to the standards that you're at now.
And I want to say too, Eli, the fact that you can look back at it and say, "Ugh, amateur mistakes." That's great. That's very good news, because that means you have grown as a sound designer. If you look back a year and say, "This sounds sweet," then perhaps you could be doing some more work on your craft. So yeah, good on you. Certainly, it's a bit of a badge of honor looking back and being like, "This still holds up." So it's also equally valuable to look back and say, "This is not quite up to standards." All right, moving on. Oh, that's something else too. Is that beep sound? I know that beep sound. That one, that blink. That's in a sound library, and it's like very similar to the Steam message sound from a while back. Anyways, moving on. We have next more anger bots. Okay, Bloodborne. So this is now more representative of what you want to be doing. So perhaps we can dig in a bit deeper on the Bloodborne clip, Matt.
Just watching it again. Yeah, it's solid. Like, it's fucking big and chunky as I think it should be, and it's like gross. And I mean, that clip too, like, I think that's a great length in a reel. Like, it just kind of like shows up, kicks you in the face, it's bloody and disgusting, and then it's out.
Just with the consideration of perhaps putting a little more, like perhaps a longer version of that, or another clip that's longer in your portfolio. So if someone does want to see a long clip, they have it to go to, right? Okay. And
if that's, as somebody just said in the chat, that's their favorite clip and really stood out, like maybe that should lead off.
And that person is VanZandt Diamante from That Game Company.
Hey.
What's up, buddy? Now I know. Been seeing your name in the chat for years. Didn't know who you were. I'm so embarrassed. Okay, moving on. So, yeah, I agree fully. It's cool. I got to that part. Honestly, I saw Face Your Fears Bloodborne after the Angry Bots, and I was like, what? This is good. So, yeah, kind of surprised me. Which sound in Angry Bots? That sound, the very end. Not after the dial tone thing. That blink, I definitely know that sound, for sure. Moving on. Let's go Viking Village. Let's have a listen again. Cranking it. Yeah, I mean, like I was saying before, there's not much you can do with Viking Village. It's just like, here's some ambient point source sounds that are very heavily implied. And that's it. So, I mean, it's doing the job, certainly. It's showing that, I wish I knew what the title was. Where's the title? Title is here. So sound design, Audacity, again, doesn't matter. Unity, C#, pure data. Okay, cool. I mean, yeah, nice. Good. It's showing you're doing it and you're putting time in. Is it also MIU, though? It is on MIU. So again, a student project. I've seen Viking Village just because people wanted to do it, and I've seen Viking Village in terms of like a student project setting, and I honestly prefer not knowing it's a student project because, again, just because of like the psychology that comes along with it. Like, oh, you did this because you had to. So maybe worth just putting Viking Village alone. Not saying lie. Don't lie. Just perhaps don't scream that you were a student.
I think Audacity is possibly the only, like, I won't even call it a DAW, but like the only audio tool that I'm like kind of interested to use because it's so limited to actually get something to successfully sound good with Audacity. It's like, hey, that's some skill. Like, good on you. Yeah. Okay. That's that's valid. I have a feeling that perhaps other people would have a different response to seeing Audacity in a design reel. Like, I use Audacity. Sweet, right? It's like, is it sweet? Well, moving on. Yeah, I mean, I think it's great. I mean, it shows that you can use whatever tools are handed to you. Mm-hmm. And that's another piece that, like, this might be really good to have a longer clip of with a bigger write-up about what you did. Like, what did you do with Pure Data? Like, I mean, that's an interesting thing that a lot of studios are going to be interested in, that you can do coding and you can use things like Pure Data. So, like, doing a bigger explanation of what you did could be really cool. Mm-hmm. And speaking of Star Wars, we got Alex Barnhart in the chat. What's up, buddy? His new Star Wars team at Respawn. Nice job. Again. Okay. Kaishu?
Kaishu. Lightsaber, Star Wars. Also, I saw Oscar say something about lightsabers earlier on. What was that? In regards to redesigning lightsabers.
Iconic, yeah.
Yeah, redesigning stuff that's super iconic is always really risky because is this a redesign? Also, it says sound design. So did you do this for a paid gig? Okay, it's always really risky because people already have very specific expectations as to what it's supposed to sound like. Agreed. Almost anything too different from that expectation will feel off no matter how cool it is. Yeah, of course, yeah, my response to this internally was, that doesn't sound like lightsaber. That's of course, how do I escape that? Because everyone knows what that sounds like, and it's super iconic, like Oscar says.
That was kind of what I was saying, where maybe in a mix, those kind of glass breaky sounds, I was I kind of don't like those, but maybe it works in a mix.
Yeah, so I see now Eli in the chat saying, this was a personal project for a lightsaber sound bank. I don't entirely know what that means, just off the top of my head. Yeah, because this alone says, this title, having heard nothing, this says this is Star Wars and you worked on Star Wars. Is that not true? If it's not true, then perhaps there's room to shift this this wording around. Also, Derek in the chat. So what's up, buddy? Good to see you. Okay. Yeah. So did you have any specific comments on the lightsaber sound, Matt, or you just want to just leave it at that?
I wasn't that blown away by it.
Yeah.
The kind of glass breaky stuff, I was a bit I don't know if that works or not. Maybe it does in the mix. And the rest was just kind of general humminess. I wasn't oh my God, that's the lightsaber sound I've been looking for.
Yeah. Yes, agreed. Okay, awesome. Okay, and then the last clip, I think my just general feedback in this one is the bottom right thing, of course, is distracting, but beyond that, there's not much happening in this clip. It's a AAA piece, yes, and if you're looking to get in-game audio, then great, but this piece is some footsteps and then a landing, and there's not a whole lot else happening. If I recall correctly, at least. Perhaps I was distracted. Let's see here, full volume. Footsteps. And they sound fine, sounds good.
I like the ambience and everything, because I'm ambience guy. But there's definitely feels like there's a room for more Foley, more cloth movement, the cape fluttering around.
Sure. Yeah.
I think you could still have that piece in a reel and have it be super impressive.
Yeah, I'm just not sure that's this sounds like Boom Medieval to me. I'm not sure if that's what you use for the chain thing, but it's if I close my eyes and listen to this walking, I don't know that what I'm hearing matches the crazy plate armor and cloth and so forth. So when you have these close-up shots, in terms of the story being told in this clip, that's all the viewer cares about is the specificity of what this thing sounds like. So there's certainly room to crank up the detail like Matt's talking about.
Yeah, and I think this is an opportunity. This is the kind of clip that you can get even more focused sounding. It shouldn't sound like it's in a real space. You should be super focused in on all the movement sounds of this character because that's what's dominating the screen and dominating your attention. So it should almost be to me, closer feeling than you normally would have something like this.
Awesome. And Josh's comment here in the chat, I think the best thing you could do to take this reel forward would be to pick another couple of clips that are really along the line of what you want to be doing, like Bloodborne, because that clip's the best one in here to my ears in a fair, or by a fair way, so by a wide margin. And then pick a more modern UE4 and Wise demo style level and show your implementation shops in there. 100%, do that thing that Josh said. Absolutely. Oh, and 100% Kansas Beef says that logo was made with the Halo 3 emblem editor, I think. Well, there you go. Someone called you out. Okay, so I guess last note before you go on to Grey Goon Audio, do you have any thoughts on if this is standing out in the crowd?
It's currently too long and unfocused for me to stand out. I think when 100 demos come across my desk for hiring, this one's going to get lost in the shuffle.
Yes, 100%. Kansas Beef. Yes. Okay, I feel the same way. I think this is a great example of me wanting to hear a V2 after doing what Josh is suggesting. And like Josh says, if AAA is in fact what you're after, then that's perhaps good advice. Okay, let's give him one of these, because I have the key We're clapping. We're clapping this time. It's not just Matt and I clapping. Okay, we got Grey Goon Audio. That's I didn't look at this other stuff in the demo. Really quick here, Eli. Just mousing over stuff. It seems like these are largely what is in your reel without more. Coin Game Audio. Okay, really quick. I'm looking at this thing. So Coin Game Audio project. Are you talking, or are you just showing? You were just showing. And it's footsteps only. It's pretty rough capture too. Yeah, so this kind of thing, it's not super helpful to a viewer without having some context. And this text here is helpful, but having a little more information about like what you did, the challenges you faced, hearing your voice talk about it, that's like way more effective than just having a video and like making the person read some text to go along with it. Yeah, just go watch Josh Adam Bell's implementation work, and it's just do that basically.
Maybe I missed it, but I'm skipping through this, and I think the first thing in the description I noticed was I did the monster voice work, and I'm like, I haven't found any monster voices in this clip.
Oh, good point. The footsteps
and I'm like, oh sweet, monster voices. I want to hear some monster voices. I mean, I love monster voices, doing Don't Starve and everything. Like that's my jam. I love making that stuff. So I want to.
Oh, I see now. At 1 minute, you can see the little like robot thing. I guess that's a monster. But anyways, yes, just a little more information of you kind of like guiding us through it. Like a guided tour is like way more effective than here's a clip and try and glean some information from it.
Yeah.
Adding some text to the video? No, don't add text. I didn't say add text. That is an option, certainly, but it is not nearly as strong and effective as hearing you say, hey, I'm Eli. Here's this cool thing I did. Have a look. You work in audio. Being able to present something you did and in a passionate and enthusiastic way is a really, really effective way of like enamoring yourself to somebody as far as a potential hire. Because when you speak about something in a passionate way, it comes through, and they'll just trust that you do in fact believe what you're talking about. You believe in yourself, and you think the work is good. So it's also way easier to hear you speaking and saying, "Hey, listen to this thing," and then listening to it rather than like looking at the thing up top, reading down below, look at the thing, read down below, look at the thing. It's just a lot of split attention. So being able to guide us through it's way, way more effective. So
putting in your voice also doubles up showing that you can edit speech and process speech. Like you don't have to like call it out that you did it, but we all know you recorded it and then you processed it and you mixed and put it in. And it's like a subtle way of letting me like, hey, I can also do this because it's right here.
Yeah, and actually on that note too, we've heard ones where the voiceover is like bad in the guided tour, and we're like, oh, awesome guided tour, but keep in mind that you're also telling us this right now that perhaps you're not the right person for audio editing for voiceover. So yes, just be aware that doing voice is excellent. Just make sure you're also paying attention from a quality point of view for that too. Barnhart agrees. There you go. I'm unsurprised. Okay, so one more of these. Actually moving on to Doug, Eli. Feel free to follow up. Even more questions. Of course, we're more than happy to clarify anything we're talking about. Okay, Grey Goon Game Audio. We're going to zoom in. 150. Here we go. This is Would I Goon. Goon Would I? Would I Goon is in the chat. There you go. The Grey Goon, says Oscar Cohen. You got it. Okay. So we got game sound up top. Spellbook. That's a new one. Wise implementation. Game jams. Other work about. Okay. I don't know what spellbook is. We're going to find out, I guess. First page. Is this game sound right now? This is game sound. We're already on it. So sound design reel. We got a Twitter link. Does it work? It works.
He follows me, so, points there.
Oh, there you go. Perfect. I'm Doug Walters, a sound designer for video games, working under my longtime music producer alias Grey Goon. Thanks for checking out my work. If you need sound for your game, I'd love to help. Reach out anytime. There's the address. Lovely. Okay, and sound design examples, a few things. And then spellbook. Oh, is it a vertical page? It's a vertical page. Look at this. Or is it? It's not a vertical page. What the heck? So the top bar doesn't just scroll down to spellbook. What? Oh, I see. This is like a link to that same page? Oh, okay. I don't think you need that. I mean, maybe you do. I don't know. What do you
I
think,
don't know.
man?
I'm because of the prevalence of vertical pages these days. I'm getting slightly confused.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's just that the vertical pages for the win, says Josh, but it's like kind of vertical. So then does
The other stuff, yeah.
does this Wise thing also go to another page? Or is that just Wise page? It's loading. It's trying to load.
It's going over for me.
Greg Goon let me know. Doug let me know earlier on that Squarespace was not behaving earlier, so that might be a thing. Yeah, so this is now the same two things that are on the front page, it looks like. Just two things, right? They're these two things. Yeah, so in that case, the front page is that other page.
But there's also the other page.
Yeah. And then, I'm also on, okay, I'm on Spellbook again, my God. Wise, and then Game Music has this SoundCloud link and a YouTube LCS Spring Playoffs opening tease, okay. And then we have, up top, there's no Game Music, though. It's only Game Jams and other work. So, yeah, I think it's worth considering your layout, man, because right now I'm a little bit confused as far as like where I can find things. And the main thing here being that I think that things that you think are worth seeing might go missed if people get confused about navigation.
I mean, this is like, I'm a game audio person. I'm not a web developer. I'm not a UI designer. So I'm just confused. But like consulting somebody who does web dev for a job might be worthwhile, just to be like, hey, how should I lay this out? Like, they're going to know what actually works. All I've got is like gut check stuff of I'm slightly confused.
Yeah, I feel the same way. So let's go to Spellbook. Just glance around really fast here before going to the reel. So Spellbook, the Grey Goon Spellbook, is a creative exploration of magical sounds. Okay, I redesign spells and magic from games, movies, and TV using only material that I record myself. No library samples or soft synth presets are used in these redesigns as I explore how to translate magical fantasy into audio reality. Okay. Ingredients. Here's me recording some stuff. Okay, cool. Spells. Mana Blast. Ice Spear. Divine Vines. Okay. All right. It's like a themed redesign page. It's kind of cool. This feels more like a blog post to me. And Josh Adam Bell says this would be great in a blog. There you go. Rather than a dedicated page. Yeah. I'm not sure. We'll carry on maybe. Do you have any thoughts right away, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, I really like the idea of this. I watched a little bit of the ingredients video. It felt kind of a bit slow. I wanted to be more snappy, especially when I clicked on the Mana Blast and it's like a 3-second long video. Like, I like the idea of this. I like, but I want kind of more explanation and more like, show me this Mana Blast for 3 seconds and then show me what sounds you used in it. Like, what went into that a little more. Like they're saying, it would be a really cool blog series to like show how this all went together. And I think it's cool, especially if fantasy games are what you want to do, to be like, here's me focusing on making fantasy sounds. Like,
Yeah, just again, flow-wise, there's not a lot of like connectivity between, like cohesion between the ingredients video and the spells. I'd love to have a little more information there too. Okay, so moving on then to Wise. Oh yes, we saw that already. Those two videos. Integrated Wise in the Viking Village and built out footstep code and environmental sounds. Cool. I use Wise to implement my own sound effects and music into this 3D game kit demo from Unity. Okay, great. Game jams. So game jams are a great way to meet fellow game enthusiasts and make a quick, fun project. I mean, yeah, I know. Like, this is probably, like, this is superfluous. I don't think you really need to describe to people what game jams are, what the benefits of them are. It's just, I'm a big fan of trimming down anything you can trim down. This is probably, like, this particular example is, like, not just you. It's, like, very generic. So just kill it off.
I'd be happy to see that explanation if it was more personal. Like you're saying, it's very generic.
Yeah.
It could be, anybody can say that. but like bring a little bit more of you to the like why you do game jams, like why you find them fun and interesting. And
Okay, other work. Right, so here's a great example of like some things that aren't games, and Doug has very astutely recognized that perhaps these things are not super relevant to a game audio recruiter style person being on this page. But it's still like, hey, look at me, I'm working in audio. Look at the proofs right here, you know? I'm speaking to you, Eli, of course, as far as the opening clip. I mean, we suggested having it somewhere else. This is a great example of that. Other work is a great place for this to live. I like it. Okay, and about. Oh, there's more. I thought I read your thing on the front page. What was the front page again? It said like, just a quick little, here's who I am. All right, moving on. So about Doug Walters, cool room. Okay, we got Doug Walters is a sound designer focused on creating and implementing audio for video games. Additionally, Doug has over a decade of professional experience working as a music producer, linear audio sound designer, composer, mixing engineer, and record label owner. All right. Good on you. Busy boy. Doug studied music composition at Wesleyan. I don't know what that is. I don't know that university. Wesleyan. I don't know. As a genre blurring music producer working under the alias Grey Goon, he's written songs for 2 albums that reached Billboard Top 15, produced more than 100 songs for commercial release, and licensed many songs to web and TV shows. Doug has also designed an app alert for Zendesk, scored various shows and commercials for major networks and brands, run a boutique recording studio in Hollywood, toured internationally with his old band, started a record label, and mixed, sound designed several award-winning festival films. All right. More recently, Doug has been focused on combining his love of audio with his passion for games, participating in game jams, contributing sound design to indie games, and studying Wise, Unreal, Unity. All right, cool.
I will comment.
Yep.
On the game sound page, it's all I'm Doug. I did this. I did that. The about page is Doug is. So there's a like, is that first and third person? I'm not an English person.
Wow.
But there's a switch there.
Good catch, buddy. I like it. Okay. Right. And that's it. Back to game sound. This link works too? It does. Back to game sound. Want to watch a reel?
Let's watch a reel.
I guess it's time for that, right? Crank my Chrome back up. And we'll just pause real quick. There it is. Get it full speed. Or full speed. And also full volume. We'll also watch full speed. Okay, and 3, 2, 1, and. All right. Nice work, dude. Okay. Matt, just quick first impression.
It was slightly too long.
Yeah.
Just just a little,
Yeah, I think there's room to come down.
not massively.
It wasn't egregious.
No.
True. I moused over it around 108. And I was like, okay, moving on. Yeah, it's just like, I think, yeah, it's just a little bit too long, in my opinion. Again, just our opinions. But in general, I've never complained about a minute at all. As long as there is more content to back it up, like the longer form things, then it's awesome. Can't go wrong. Okay, so I guess first up, we'll go to these criteria again, get it up. So presentation first. Overall, do you have any immediate notes that spring to mind?
Nothing. I mean, this wasn't like, yeah, I started listening to sounds. I mean, this is a good thing. I started really paying attention to sounds in it and was like, oh, I feel like I'm going to really nitpick this. Like, and that only happens when, like, a bar has already been reached.
Yeah, certainly. Taco Bowl has a point to make. Says where is it here? I don't see it though. Where do you see that? So it says the YouTube video for the Titanfall sound redesign. Oh, the YouTube video for it says you pulled it from another YouTube video. Do you get permission from that person? Okay. Oh, where are you seeing? In the description? Where are you looking here? I mean, if it's from like, let's see here. Was it not even here? Doug Walters? Where are you looking, Taco Bowl? What's going on? I don't even see it here. What are you? Oh, here. Titanfall sound redesign? I'm derailed.
Mm-hmm.
From YouTuber Ghost Robo. Okay, well, there you go. It's true. I mean,
that to me is opening up a really, like, a kind of out there copyright issue of, like, yes, that person played it, but Respawn owns it.
Yeah, I don't think that
it's.
I mean, sure, if you want to like be courteous, I'm sure it wouldn't hurt. But I mean, I don't think they're gonna be coming after you for using their gameplay if it's like this quick 10-second thing that shows nothing of their skill level or anything specific about that person that's on YouTube. If you're like redesigning a person who was like a speedrunner or something who is like making money from like making a living off their streaming, their influencing presence or something, that's a bit different. Like this single clip tells me nothing about this person that is playing the game, so it's probably fine. I don't know. That's again, it's can of worms territory. I'm not too concerned about that right now. Closing it. We'll speak of it no more. Full screen. Okay, so I agree. I was listening to stuff. So good on you, Doug. Good job. We're listening. So opening. Quick bookend. Oh.
That was cool.
Very cute. Yeah,
I
long
feel
enough.
it didn't blow me away or anything. It just came in and we're like, all right, this is the volume of I can expect. Cool.
Yeah, it's like fine. I mean, I think it does the job. It's married to your branding on the page, which is awesome. That shows a little more consideration for yourself and like design on the whole and so forth. It's awesome. The it's like pretty easy to do. The chunk chunk is like pretty straightforward too. So again, not blown away, but it's fine. It's cool. Certainly much better than silence. Okay, and then this. I don't love this titling. I don't love it, man. Like the text
It's covered up.
It's covered up. B, the white with the shadows, like it helps readability, but it's just a little bit gross. I think that like the black background is generally better. Just a lower third. Keep it easy. Keep it simple. Don't try and reinvent anything.
Like I often it gets covered up when I mouse over the video, and I honestly am moused over more often than not because I'm like watching the time and stuff when I'm watching something. So
Yeah, there you go.
like
yeah, okay. So then moving on, just flow wise, we have the ship into the yes, nice tasteful transition, nice job. And then next one too, more transitions. Sure, okay. And then the end, again, ha ha ha. Cool. All right, great. So moving into material selection, what do you think Grey Goon Audio wants to work on, Matt?
It's definitely AAA.
Definitely AAA. I am not
Salt and
as...
Sanctuaries is an indie game, but it feels the whole thing feels AAA to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely feels AAA. I did feel that the presence of Salt and Sanctuary was like an interesting choice, given that Salt and Sanctuary is a love letter to like Dark Souls, and Dark Souls is the same kind of sound design. So to have like I'm choosing Salt and Sanctuary and not a AAA project, I was like, interesting. But again, the focus of this reel is definitely heavy towards the AAA side of things. And you had done indie things as your bio, contributing sound design to indie games. So on this note, Josh brings up a good point that I was trying to find the words for, but Josh is doing a better job. I'll just read his comment. So, given that your page is named Grey Goon Audio, it brings up the whole like freelance outsourcer company versus in-house gig thing. So if AAA is the thing you want to do, I think a AAA company would much rather hire Doug Walters than Grey Goon Audio, like Grey Goon Game Audio. I don't know how much of a problem that would be because I don't work AAA, but yeah, I think it's maybe a consideration. And like all the time putting the studio space and stuff, like it seems a bit like you're looking to freelance.
Here's a counterpoint.
Sure, go for it, please.
While I totally agree with you and Josh and Barney, like Barney brought it up as well, a lot of AAA studios use sort of in-house freelancers, air quotes, like your temporary part-time contract employees. So in a lot of cases, legally, they want you to be your own company for billing purposes. So in some ways, they might like you presented that way.
There you go. What I Goon says, thanks. Studio is for rent in Hollywood. Well, there you go. Okay. Yeah, so basically, we're not sure. It might be fine. It's probably fine. But yes, that's certainly a consideration as far as if someone does come to you, I guess be clear. Nice lamp, too. I have two of those lamps in this room right now. One is right here and one's right there. So nice lamp, dude. Good choice. Okay, so back to game sound again. Let's talk about the content quality. You were listening to sound, my friend. Mm-hmm. So you claim. So what are your thoughts on Witcher 2?
I wanted those punches to be bigger and meatier.
Yeah.
Like they sounded like realistic, and I just wanted hyper realistic. Like,
yeah, this clip is definitely trying to be realistic. Like the video, like the visuals, right? They're trying to be like, this is a high def, like sounds rich and lush and like believable kind of thing. So yeah, that first, it's just like we're gonna be nitpicking, by the way, just so you know, Doug. But that's why we're here. So yeah, this very first punch, I was like, I wish I had more weight to that. These punches here, the impacts are fine. It's more the whooshes. I was kind of like, yeah, it's like way up there. That's a little more of like a dowel or like a something a little more light and like swingable. This punch whoosh just doesn't really. I mean, whooshes are hard, by the way. They're super tough. So a little more beef in there, like a little more like it's a larger, meatier, big. Look at the size of these meat hooks, man. They're huge, big arms. A little more of that than like. So it's again small nitpick, but there you go.
Kind of just a slower whoosh.
Yeah, sure. Feel. It's too quick. You're right. It's like the I'd buy a library of those sounds Kevin just made with his mouth. Oh, thanks, Josh. Yeah, witches are tough. I just make them all myself. It's my face. I love lamps, says Brett Patterson 2000. Thanks, buddy. Good to see you. All right, so moving on the clip here.
Like I liked the amount of ambience that was there.
I was about to ask. Surprise.
That's
Shocker.
I felt that the magic was a bit generic sounding, like a little bit too much white noisy feeling everything.
Okay. Let's hear
Like
that.
it was there
It's
and
coming
it
up.
covered everything. It just
It's a bit like the underneath. It's pretty cool. Wood Goon says 4 exclamation points. Ambience is fine. It says. Yeah, it's. I kind of agree. There's some cool intro though on the impact. It's like
there is a lot of
sucks
neat
back
elements too in there.
Yeah, I think just I'd agree that it's a bit like it's an explosion kind of thing as opposed to it's magic. You know. Yeah. Yeah, you have like those cool tones in there, and I think you could probably dig into the details of like the movement a little more. It's like yep, and not just in terms of like the editing on it and like how it fades in and out, but also the position, because you can see it here. It kind of like it spreads out. I'm gonna turn the volume down a bit so I can keep talking. It spreads out and it goes back in again, and that might be worth doing like panning stuff too. You know.
Like I've definitely found as I've gone on as a sound designer, I've learned, and I learned this from other people. I didn't figure this out myself at all. To get rid of as much noise as I can. Like on their own, a lot of times stuff sounds cool when it's really noisy, but once you sort of get it into the mix and stuff, I find myself pulling out more and more noise elements.
Yeah, like is it adding to character or not? You're saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Max Harchick, what's up, buddy? Says the magic-y elements are very generic magic to me. Not really getting the character of ice versus fire magic. That's probably a good point to bring up, actually. So when the fire comes into play, is there more like versus like shh? There's a little more, but I'm not sure if you close your eyes, you'd hear like the fire specifically come in. Ideally, we'd be able to pick out that fire with our eyes closed, like very easily. As far as like, oh, something like a new challenger into the fray. You know, it should for sure announce its arrival there. Okay, any more notes on that one, Matt? Before we move on.
No, I think it's good.
Okay, we're at 5:24 right now. Let's try and wrap this up pretty soon. So, Salt and Sanctuary, cool stuff. I actually can't recall this game's sounds. I'm pretty sure that James Michel did. Sorry, they're Ska Studios. I think they did the sound themselves, if I recall correctly. And I think it was like fine, if I recall. It wasn't like mind-blowing, and I think they know that. So cool choice for redesign, I guess. I felt like there's... Go ahead, Matt, sure.
There's those dark things that are throwing stuff. I kind of found their throwing sounds odd because it's sort of wrapped up into the presentation of these, like, I don't know what these dark clouds are, and then they're making a very solid throwing sound. So I sort of didn't get it, but I also bought it all as like, sure, that game could totally have sounded just like that and like gone out the door. Like it sounded like a shipped game to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's I always have a hard time with like shing as a throw. It's a because shing is like, it's the classic Hollywood, like you're unsheathing a sword and it's like shing, or it's like two swords like dragging across each other to, you know, as they back away before charging towards each other again. Shing, it's not like a throw, so yeah. like a throw and maybe like a little magic-y like kind of appearance of the object being thrown might be worthwhile, along with like a kind of like the sharp whirling to help sell the idea of this is actually a spinning object.
And I want some of that, like this, it's a cloud throwing something.
Yeah.
And it's trailing that black smoke as it throws something. So I kind of want more of that kind of sound than the short sword unsheathing shing.
Yeah, it's I will say that it's doing its job though. It is announcing its presence. So the player knows there's now a thing to watch out for. It is now flying towards them. That's good news. So good on you for that. Yeah, I think that overall it's pretty good, man. Like Matt said, it could definitely ship. I think it's not without its flaws, but yeah, it's nice, good effort. Okay, moving on to Titanfall. I'm so not a guns guy. I don't know if Matt is either. But what do you think, Matt?
I mean, my first gunshot, I was actually like, all right, that's cool.
Mhm.
Like, most often we hear guns that are not big and beefy as they need to be. So, like, good job on getting that done.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, from my limited understanding and knowledge base of like guns in video games, I was like, cool, I could play a game that sounds like this. And then the one thing that stood out to me is like a little bit weird, or maybe not up to the same bar, was the push away and the low pass along with a kind of thing. It's the classic like voice in the game. It's for sure you, right? I'm guessing. Where is he? Where is he? And then this. That was a little more. I mean, it's beyond the limit of the low pass you set. That's for sure. And the quality of it in terms of performance is not quite pro. I'm sorry to say. I know that you're putting your best effort in, but the fact is, no one's going to be hiring you for your like voiceover callouts and barks in a video game. You can definitely just not put voice in your redesign, and no one will ever care. They're not going to be like, "Oh, come on, it's not complete." They're not going to say that. It'll be fine. And in general, voice is very risky to put in a game in a redesign, because the original content has access to top tier talent because they have a budget for it, right? And it's understandable that you don't, so just don't put it in there. Matt, any more thoughts on that one?
I'm trying to see, like, the clip happens so quickly. Like, I was trying to see if I can see the faces of the guys getting killed, because potentially, if anybody's wearing masks, you can lean into that a little harder with processing to hide some of the amateur voice acting.
Oh, yes, it's not quite landing for me, man.
And who said it in the chat? Somebody was saying about the low health bit. It was, yeah, the filtering on the low health feels a little much, and it's a good chunk of time of the clip.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's
So
a challenging
sort of, to
thing.
me, taking away from like the cool sounds you're making by just like slapping this massive filter over everything.
And probably worth mentioning in terms of the flow of the entire piece as well. Not just this clip, but the entire reel. We have this like pretty solid finish with this like, you know, good gunfire and so forth. It's a strong redesign. And then we just go hard low pass, and then it's like, oh yeah, we're we're just done. Like it's sort of, it's not like a finish at a climax. It's like we're taking a big step down, and now we're just gonna, you know, come in for a landing at the very bottom. So I think this is not helping you in terms of the full flow. If you dial this back to a minute, you could easily stop before that low pass, or just do a different clip that starts a bit earlier. Where is he? Yeah, it's kind of an unfortunate finish. Was going for something interactive, I think, says Goon Audio, Gray Goon Audio. Yes, that's worth considering, certainly. And in fact, in our last few minutes, let's just glance at your Wise stuff, because that's not in your main reel, and it might be worth putting it there. One thing to consider, Doug, is that first video might be all the person has time to watch. The person who's watching your stuff. They might just watch your first video and be like, are they a good fit? Guess not. And moving on. It's not guaranteed to be the case, but it's kind of all about just giving yourself the best chances at getting more attention, right? So let's see this Viking Village thing really quick. It's a minute 48. Just going to skip through it.
In this video, I demonstrate how
Oh, be still my heart. You're talking. Perfect.
Yeah.
Amazing. One more time.
I used Wise integration with Unity to build the audio environment in this Viking Village demo from the Unity Asset Store.
J48, what's up?
I set up ambient sounds to come from the borders of the village using the large mode positioner function. Wispy winds howl from the mountains, and gentle waves lap against the water's shore.
So they do.
I also put looping audio samples in the torches and the spinning wooden mill prefab.
Okay, great. Like as you do in Viking Village, you do all those things. Okay, and then moving on to Viking Village Hall of Fame, says Barney. Video unavailable. This video has been removed by the uploader. I can't believe it.
Ooh.
Oh no, that doesn't look good. I wanted to watch it. Doug, please help me out, man. All right, so bottom line, Matt, do you think it's worth having a little bit of a indication that he's doing Wise stuff in the main reel?
Yeah, totally. Like right now, it's just 3 redesigns, which are pretty solid. But yeah, you're not showing at all that you've got any implementation chops. Which can be really important these days to landing a gig.
Yeah, your consideration of showing something interactive, Doug, is certainly, that's well grounded for sure. That's very valuable to think of things that way. Like doing a mock-up that shows you have like sensibilities for gameplay and for what changes in states mean to the player and what that does to the soundscape and so forth. That's awesome. But showing also that you can do that and you know what's happening under the hood and you can actually do those things. That's also very valuable. Okay, there's footstep, Unity code stuff in the Viking vid. Awesome. Yeah, so just make sure it works. Okay, I'm keen to kind of wrap it up right there, I think. Do you have any final notes for Doug, Matt?
I think a little rearrange of the demo reel would be good. Get some of that implementation stuff in there would be great. Clean up the flow of the website. But the sounds themselves are pretty solid.
Sweet. Good. And in 1 second here, I want to see this. Did you even realize there's music in the Salt and Sanctuary clip?
Oh, damn. I'm off my game.
But you know why you didn't mind? Because it sounds like a shipped game. That's why you didn't mind. It was like, okay, fine. This is just the game. He just did the game. He didn't, but you tricked Matt into not realizing it. I didn't realize it either. I scrolled down, Matt, and I saw he has Salt and Sanctuary sound and music redesign, and also no music at the bottom. And I was like, whoa, is there music in the bottom? And there totally was music. There you go.
All right, get rid of that music.
Get rid of the music, says Matt. Okay. So I'm keen to wrap it up right there then. So overall, strong. Like strong reel. I think it's probably too long. I think that it might be worth putting some more indication of like Wise stuff in the reel itself to show, yes, I'm doing this. If this is all they watch. Like if this is all they watch, do they have all the information to know whether to look forward or like look further into your stuff?
I think that's the only thing you're safe to assume about these sorts of things is they will only watch one video at most.
Yeah.
So hook them in.
Yeah, if there's like hundreds of applications for a gig, Doug, it makes sense that, it might sound mean or rude, but it makes sense to think that they don't have time to spend like 15, 20 minutes on everyone's site. It's just too much time. So they got to make pretty quick decisions on every person. Okay, so overall, standing out in a crowd?
Closer.
Yeah.
It's close. I feel like it's solid. It's just not like pushing packs of like, oh my God, I have to have this person.
Yeah, I feel like a studio might be like, come back in 6 months and like show me what you've done then. And at that point, they might hire you. That kind of thing. Where you just need to put like a little more time in and show us. I mean, honestly, you could just reorganize some things on your main page and make a new reel as far as like the edit and the content, and that would edge you much closer to being like standing out for sure. And you might just be standing out at that point. So good on you, man.
I feel like it has a good chance of getting thrown into the second pass pile.
Yeah.
Like it's not the like definitive like bam yes. It's the like yeah okay let's look at this again. Mm-hmm. Or, like I'm gonna give this to my other people on the team to check out as well. Like.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me, as far as my takeaway from this, is that like you have a quite a large body of work behind you, man. Like you did the music production thing, linear audio, composer, mixing. You own the record label. Got this bomb ass studio. You've been doing stuff. It's like very clear that you're driven and you're doing a lot of things. So that shows that like you're serious and you're committed, right? So having this video as being like not quite there as an example, like for the sound design and such, like, oh, you could do a better job like separating the ice and the fire magic. Like that's such a nitpick. And that's the kind of thing that's, if you were a junior designer under like a senior team or under like an audio lead or whatever, that's the kind of thing they could help sculpt in a final project. And of course you wouldn't be hired on as like senior sound at some large company. You'd be in a junior position. So that makes sense. And in that case, yeah, it totally makes sense. You'd be like in a watch this person or call them back pile for sure. Okay. So I guess that's probably that. We'll give you one of these. Claps for you, Doug. Nice work. And Craig also says, haha, nice lamp. Very nice lamp. Overall, the takeaway here is nice lamp. All right. Well, thanks so much, Matt.
Yeah, it's been fun coming back.
We ran a little over time, but there's things to talk about. It's just so nice talking to you, you know? So I guess I'll give you the floor. If you have anything you want to talk about for Clay stuff or your stuff or whatever, then feel free.
No, I got nothing. I got nothing these days. We're all working from home. I'm just trying to survive all this madness.
Yeah,
so.
I guess like all of us, right? Okay, fair enough. Well, I guess
being a immunocompromised person, I am hyper aware of all this shit going on.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
if you're out there and you're doing stuff in all this craziness, don't think about just you. Think about me, because I need you all to be careful, and that's the only way we're all going to get through this.
All right. Yes, please think of Matt. Thank you. I want you around also, please. I like having you around. Okay. Well, thanks so much, man. I'll let you go, and I'll wrap over here.
It was fun.
Thanks buddy.
For
We'll do it again
everybody
soon.
For tuning in.
We'll do it again in 2 years. Okay. See you, buddy.
Bye.
Okay. Well, back to you, Fastfall. Let's go. Please? Oh my God. It doesn't want to do it. It's going to yell at me to pay for it, isn't it? I bought the vinyl. Calm down, Terrence. All right. This one. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, thanks, everyone, hanging out. As always, so good to see everyone in the chat. And everyone coming together to help get these folks into the jobs. Isn't that great? Everyone's like, hey, I'm working. Come work also. And furthermore, let me just check something really quick here. I still have no message from Josh. Josh, message me, man. What's your deal? That's my question. What is the deal? So find out, I guess. But in future weeks, we have... Give me a second. Let me look into this. We got some pretty bomb guest hosts coming up. We have Austin Wintory on June 4th. And we have Steven Shapler on June 11th. He is... I'm not sure what his title is. Maybe audio lead, senior sound designer, something like that. At NetherRealm. They did Mortal Kombat 11. And you may have also seen he did that Vice... I think it was Vice, wasn't it? Or Wired? I think it was Vice. They went into their studio and did some vegetable violence and recorded it and made some gross Mortal Kombat sounds. Classic. Like you do. And then on June 18th, we have... I'm going to butcher his name. It's Orchan... I don't know how to say his last name. Orcun. Orchan? I don't know how you say his last name. I'll have to ask him. But he is audio lead at Tail Worlds on Mountain Blade, and of course the newish released, previously thought to be vaporware, but is in fact out, and it's good. It's his Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord, and he's in freaking Turkey, so he'll be up late. So thank you, Urchan, in advance. Holy, it's gonna be good. So we're working on next week's guest host still. We'll see. Yeah, like 3 a.m. I know it's super late. I was like, I apologize. It's like, man, I'm up for it. No worries. So there you go. So we'll call it right there. And everyone, as always, please be safe. And like Matt said, think of everyone around you, not just yourselves. All this together, it'll be over in I don't know. I'm not going to make any promises. Who knows? So stay home for a while, I guess. All right. Thanks, everyone. Peace.